Hi, welcome. It's another episode of the Elevate rather. Elevate your being. But if you're already here inside the members portal, you'll know what we're doing. So I am here with a fantastic woman. I met her in 2020. We were on a course together. And it didn't take us long to find out that we've got a lot in common. So I'm just so delighted that she's come back and she's part of this online summit. So let me introduce you. I have, and why does this never work for me when I'm doing the recording? Here we go. I have Angie Simmons, who is talking to us about how journaling changes your life. Angie, thank you so much for being here. At last. Oh wow, I mean, how far we've both come since we did the course together. Things have really changed.
When you just said the 2 years, I was like, really? Was it?
Yeah.
The past couple of years I've just done well.
And you've achieved so much. I mean, my introduction for those of you watching is Angie is a mental health mentor. She's also a published author. Angie, is there anything else you want to throw into the accolade? Because you're a wonderful woman. So you introduce yourself, please.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much, Vanessa. It means a lot. So for those that don't know me, yes, I'm Angie Simmons from a mining town called Mansfield. I'm a single mum of a very talented young girl. And we've got 3 awesome fur babies. So I do apologise if one of them decides that they want to come and say hello, because he's already said hello while he was chatting. I was going, oh. So yeah, just apologies just in case that happens. So yeah, it was, I got into personal development 7 years ago, turned my life totally around. And in fact, I actually didn't notice the true difference, the true power of it until I lost my mum just under 4 years ago. And yeah, I came across journaling by accident. And I didn't see the power of it. I didn't get it. I didn't want to get it. I didn't understand it. I just thought it was old fashioned. And now I just accidentally fell into journaling, and I'm here now. Well, lockdown, it enabled me to slow down and look at where I wanted to go and how I wanted to help other people. And yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you know, I journal myself, Angie, and I know what you mean. It's such a powerful tool that we can bring into our life. Now, obviously, you were with us. I think it was the January or the February Health and Wellbeing Cafe? I think it might have been January.
I'm not sure.
Because I wanted you right at the beginning of the year so that you would set us up great for the year, and you did such a fantastic job. Do you mind sharing what that talk was about, please? Just for they will have opportunity to see that as a replay, but for anyone who hasn't watched that yet, can you just give us a recap on that, please?
Of course I can. It was more about telling my story, how I've turned my mental mess into my message to help other people. I sort of alluded a little bit on, the fact that I was struggling with mental health. I had done for I don't know how many years. I was popping the antidepressants like Smarties and drinking like a fish, just because I didn't know any better, because I needed just to shut this down. And so I told more about my personal story, how I got to the state I got to, and how personal development changed my life.
Oh, fantastic. So before you actually go into your talk, I just want to ask you about the work that you're doing. Can you give us an idea of the transformation process? So when clients come to you, obviously people are going to be at different stages of their own journey, but what is the transformation that you notice, like a recurring theme, if there is one, please?
Well, one of my clients actually turned around and said to me that she helped me switch her on her own inner light. And that to me was probably one of the most powerful things that I've ever heard somebody say. I believe that true transformation starts with self. And when you do go in and switch on your own light, you start to love and respect yourself, which unfortunately a lot of people don't do much of anymore. So when I talk to people, I find out that they don't understand their own uniqueness and their own inner power. So I help them see that. I help them dig deep, help them gain more clarity as to where they are and where they want to go, more connection with the inner and the outer world, because most people do struggle with looking on the, most people look out outdoors rather than going inside. And just to help them improve their mindset, the personal growth and self-care, to be fair. So it's all about teaching them a personal development routine, my gardening tools, as I like to call it, which I can explain a little bit more later, that helps people get the best out of themselves. So yeah, it's just fast tracking what I've learned over the past 7 years, so people don't have to go around their houses like I did.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. So what we're going to do now, Angie, is I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm here to listen and learn from you, so I'll be taking notes as well. So when you're ready, oh yeah, I always do. No pressure. I love learning from others. So I'll hand it over to you, Angie. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you very much. So what I want to talk to you about is obviously journaling. A little bit of backstory. I mentioned earlier that I fell into journaling, and I'd heard about journaling, didn't really get it, didn't really want to get it. I didn't understand how writing your thoughts down could really impact your life and change it like it has mine. How I fell into journaling was when I lost my mum just under 4 years ago. So all it was a tiny little diary. It had been unused, and I started writing down a couple of sentences in the morning and a couple of sentences in the evening, and just different colours so I could tell the difference. And what I was doing was writing down how I was feeling with everything that was going off around me. My life felt like it was in chaos again. But what I was also doing was I was monitoring whether I was listening. So I was drawing it here. Was I listening to some positive inspirational material? I drew a little book. Was I reading some inspirational mindset material? And more importantly, was there a glass of wine or a bottle of wine? And that's how it started. So for somebody that's never really done journaling, try something simple as that. Maybe it might not be the reading and the listening of something inspirational, but you could draw down a little tiny picture of what you want to monitor. Because when you monitor those daily thoughts, feelings, and actions, it really does change your life. So I want to talk a little bit about the thoughts and the feelings and the actions, if I may. So when I talk about the brain, I don't want to go into too much detail about the brain because you could get lost in it, but to understand a little bit when it comes to journaling. So when you think about your brain, I'm going to just talk about two parts of your brain, which is the conscious and the subconscious. So the way I look at the conscious brain, it's about your thoughts, but it's also your gardener. It's about you being present with yourself, your thoughts. That's where journaling comes in, because you will be present with your thoughts while you're writing. Now, the other bit was I've just mentioned the subconscious. Now, that is your garden, where all those feelings are, all the stuff that you've collected since you were little. So what happens with a garden if it's not looked after? It grows weeds. And if you've ever tried to pull out nettles, one, you get stung if you haven't got the right tools. Two, if you haven't got the right tools and you don't get all those roots out, they'll come back. So this is the way that when I was looking at the work that I was doing, I needed to understand a little bit about that brain. So I hope you understand, you get that in that personal development when done consistently and persistently, and journaling is one of those tools. It helps your gardener. It helps it go in and dig out those weeds. You see, the subconscious brain answers to repetition. So if you're constantly listening to something, you're constantly reading something, you're keeping this active, it dulls out all the negative that's actually thrown at us. So journaling. To try and understand journaling, I think some people think it's very old-fashioned, which it's not, to be fair. It's not old-fashioned. It's not woo-woo either. But as I said, it's to help you keep present with the way you're feeling. So it's not just about brain dumping either, because it can be a record, but it also declutters some of those thoughts that we don't want, that we carry around with us. Because if you're noticing what you're writing down, noticing your thoughts, if you're not going in the direction that you want to go in, you can change it. If you're not recording those thoughts, how do you know what direction you're going in? We suffer massively with burnout because we're all running around like scurrying ants, not being present with our true self, and we're focused on lack of stuff. You know, some people go to work to pay for a house that they don't even spend any time in. So what this does is cause stress, anxiety, depression, and especially what's been going on, you know, over the past few years. So with journaling, what it will do is it will enable you to take those little daily steps that you might need. It's a fantastic stress relief toolkit. Sorry, I need a drink of water. And it also helps people with their mental and physical health. It helps with depression, anxiety, as I've said. And if you don't, what I hear so many people talk about is they don't have time to do the inner work by sitting down and spending time with themselves. And then when I speak to most people, when they get up in the morning, the first thing they do is pick one of these up. My question would be to you, if you're one of those people, if you woke up in the morning and know that there's 300 people outside your front door, would you open the door to those 300 people? The answer is probably not. But we pick this up. And there's even more on there, to be fair. So take that time to look after you, because that's what it's about. Journaling is about being with you and looking after you. So, as I said earlier, it's a fantastic stress management tool, but it also helps you sharpen the memory. There've been, what's the word I'm looking for now? There've been studies done that actually prove that people who journal heal faster from traumatic events. They've also proven that it sharpens the memory, it improves the immune function. You know, like I said earlier, it's all about helping you reduce that stress that you have going off every single day. It's about helping you express those feelings without editing them, because most people don't realize that you can't go 3 months. Sorry, I've just got to get my piece of paper because I will forget it or get it wrong, and I don't want to do that. So it's 3 weeks without food, and you can't go 3 days without water. You can go 3 minutes without air, but you cannot go 3 seconds without a thought. So let me just get that right again. You can go 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 minutes without air. You can't go 3 seconds without a thought. How do you know what you're thinking about if you're not monitoring it? How do you know what direction you're going in life if you're not monitoring it? So what journaling enabled me to do was it enabled me to find the positive in the chaos that I was in at the time when my mum passed away. Because if you listen to my story, when my brother was killed, my life was in chaos. When my mum was, and I was blamed for something that wasn't my fault from family members. And then when my mum passed away, it all started again. So I really wanted to anchor down on the positive in life. Because when we look at life, 90% of the time, we just see all the negative stuff that's going off. News, radio, social media. It's like we're programmed to love negative. So what that actually does is just causes even more stress, anxiety, depression. So getting yourself in that state where you can write all those feelings without, stopping yourself, pour it out. And one of my friends says to me sometimes, it's it's great to get the boo-hoos out. It's okay to cry. There's nothing wrong with that. This is how I see journaling. It gets it out. So I don't ruminate over it. Because how many times have we done something, we just keep going over and over and over and over and over in our heads. Journaling stops that happening. And I'm true testament, to be fair. And what where all my stuff has come from was, as I said, I wanted something, and I noticed that journaling, just two sentences in the morning, 2 sentences at night, and putting down the ear, the book, the glass or the bottle, how it changed me, how impactful just that little bit was. And that's why I decided to go and find a journal that I could work with, that it could help me unpack my thoughts, but also help me implement what I like to call my gardener's toolkits. I couldn't find one. And that's how my journal came along, which was, I think it took me about a year and a half after my mum passed away that it came out. And it wasn't even a thought in my head until I started journaling. So you'll be amazed how many ideas you get whilst you're journaling. So if anybody wants to find out more about my particular journal, they can always get in touch with me. It's called How Am I Feeling Today? And it's a year-long undated, because that's what I was looking for. I was looking for something that I could set goals in on a monthly basis, but also over the year, because we don't see those small daily steps that we take. But when we're journaling, we can see that. So I wanted it for a year. I wanted it undated, so somebody can start it whenever they like. And as I said, it's got my gardener's toolkit in there as well, which is, I like to call the Majala method, which in lockdown, I decided to design my course, which is a 7-week course that teaches the science behind the way I journal. And it's about helping you connect your mind, your body and soul. And as I say, to gain more clarity and mindset. So just trying to think at the moment regards to the journaling and stuff like that. It actually, I think, to be fair, if we look at this, I could also explain a few more health benefits, because if people know why they should do it, they're more likely to do it. So as I said earlier, it helps with anxiety, depression, reduces stress and blood pressure. It helps people boost their moods, keeps the memory sharp, improves the immune system, improves liver and lung function. It also helps people build their confidence and become self-aware so they can enhance their well-being. So if you're not using your journal, my question is, why? Because it would be very interesting to find out why people aren't journaling. As I said, most people don't journal because they think it's old-fashioned, but it's not. Are we all good?
Oh, brilliant. Okay, thank you, Angie. That was fantastic. So what I want to do now is just kind of like talk about some of the points that you raised in your talk. So it was fantastic. And I agree with you. I don't know when I started journaling, I've kept all of them. So now I've got a cupboard in the living room, which has got all my journals. And one day I will find the time to go through, because it's also about your journey. And I know that Vanessa that's sitting here doing this recording, preparing this summit, is definitely not the woman who started journaling all those years ago. So it does work. I love the fact that you spoke about the awareness. A lot of us, I mean, my audience is mainly mums, mainly women. There will be some men that will be listening to this as well. So don't think that I don't love you. It's just that's who I predominantly work with. And I find that when you've got a lot of people in your life and you're always there for someone else, what you want can go to the back of the queue. Because if you're you're a carer yourself, if you're in a caring role, then it can. And then you spoke about the subconscious mind as well, which is really powerful. With the awareness, what are you saying if you're working with anyone who's like busy and almost like thinking they haven't got time to journal? How do you explain how they can weave this into their life? Is there anything in particular you've been passing on, please?
Well, to be fair, when I hear people saying that they don't have time, that's when I look at, right, okay, so what are we doing? Because we've all got the same amount of hours in a day. It depends what you're doing in that hours. And that, like I say, is that's when this came out. And I just thought, wow.
Yeah, the mobile phone.
Or the TV. The first thing they do is come downstairs and turn the TV off. And turn the TV on, sorry, and make a cup of coffee and sit and watch TV or but it's helping them understand you don't buy a car and not look after it, because you won't get far. It'll break down on you. And that's what happens with us. We're the same. You know, this is our vehicle. These are our vehicles. They're our utensils. And if we're not looking after them, we will crash and burn.
So this takes us back to the subconscious mind, what you were talking about. And yeah, you know, it's a great explanation that you've given. The subconscious mind is actually in control more than we think. That our conscious mind, you know, I'm holding a pen, this is what I, you know, but no, the subconscious mind is really what's formed those habits that we have. So what you've just said there, coming downstairs, putting the kettle on, putting the television on, grabbing your phone, that's the subconscious mind, because you programmed yourself into that habit.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really good. And then the myth busting, why do you feel that we're not in this culture of, as you've explained it, putting yourself first? And is there a time in the day that you recommend journaling? Would be another question as well.
Okay, so with the first one, bit controversial. We're still being taught to go to school, to get a good education, to get a good job, to fit in with everybody else, not own our uniqueness, so we can get stuck in a job forever and run around that little rat wheel.
Yeah.
That is my, when I hear people, you know, like I said earlier, people go to work all day to pay for a house that they're never in.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it, because when, like, for instance, my daughter at school, she has always wanted to be Cinderella. You know, she's always loved princesses and things like that. The best way for me to describe it is Tinkerbell. That's the best way for me to describe it. So Tinkerbell is a nature fairy. She doesn't want to be a nature. She wants to be, you know, she's a tinker, but she wants to be a nature fairy. She wants to go to the mainland.
Okay.
So because she wants to go to the mainland, she thinks that she's got to do something else. When actually, when she actually owned her own talent, her own uniqueness, she went anyway. You know, my daughter was squished from a very early age and told to quieten it down when it comes to doing what, because she's an actress, singer, dancer, and she,
I thought she was a dancer. Yeah,
she excels at it, and she got squished because apparently it might upset one of the other children that weren't.
So this was the school, because obviously I can't imagine you. I can imagine you being very encouraging.
I wasn't very happy when I heard, because she was phenomenal, and I think that is one of the reasons why we just get on that rat wheel, because we're trained to do it. And
so is the programming then, the cultural programming has an issue to how we're going to look after ourselves. And what we're fundamentally talking about is journaling is a way of looking after the mind.
Yes.
And if we're not putting our mind first, then how are we really functioning? And I think it's a really good example that you've touched on there, because for myself, I know that at the weekend, I do have more time, and that focus is there. But for my own journaling practice, if I go more, I think it's more than 3 days without, my mood drops like significantly. I'm actually grieving at the moment. And yesterday, I feel like I was struggling a bit more. And then I remembered I haven't done my journaling. Also, what happened to me was the meditation. So not only didn't journal, I hadn't meditated as well. So that was two things what I would describe as, stress busting, as you said,
Yes.
that hadn't happened. And
Mhm.
oh gosh, this morning, first thing, I did the meditation. I came down. I was still kind of running late, really.
Bless you.
But I was like, no, I have to do it. This is so, so, so important. So again, when we talk about looking after ourselves, I think everyone's really focused on the physical. Yes, we need our physical body, of course, but the mind is so important. If you're not in a good state of mind, it is really going to stop you, I feel, from doing what you want to do.
Well, it does, because your thoughts affect your feelings, and your feelings affect how you act.
Yes.
If you haven't got your thoughts and feelings, this body will not do anything.
Exactly. So going on to the burnout, I mean, the word I wrote down is living in the now. Unfortunately, even myself, I'm trying to be more aware of when I'm not living in the now. It's so important. I love the fact that you spoke about the telephone. And one of the things, because I said it to myself this morning, I need to readjust my routine. And it is because I run online groups. So I've got a WhatsApp group, I've got a group in Telegram. It's almost as though I feel that I have to feed them first. I have to feed their mental health. I have to give them an inspirational. Well, why am I doing that? Why am I not feeding my mind first? And then once I've done that, I then can give to others. So
Absolutely.
it was something that I thought of this morning.
Yeah, if you're, bless them, a lot of people, if you've not put in fuel in your cars, so to speak, then it's going to run down. It's going to stop. And that's what happens with us.
Yeah.
Like, you've just alluded to, no, before I do anything else, my inner work is done. Because I noticed that, we are energy beings. There's only so much energy you can get, I think. But you've got, when you do that inner work, your energies are full.
Exactly.
And other people are coming in, they're nicking something off you, they're sort of taking your energies off you. So then you start depleting. So my question to your answer earlier, when you said about journaling, I do it first thing in the morning.
Well, this is the thing. I think what I'm going to take away from this talk is the analogy of if 300 people or more, I mean, by the time I've added up all the groups and everything, it is like, it's more than 300, like you said. Would I really let them all in? No, I wouldn't. So that's really going to stay with me. One of the things,
that's brilliant.
Well, because as I said to you before, apart from now, it doesn't sound like I have a morning routine, but I do have a morning routine. I'm still craving to get an epic evening routine. So this is something. Oh, I think you're frozen there, Angie. Oh yeah, here she is. We had a lovely pose from you then. So it's the epic evening routine as well. Do you have any tips for those who may find it just easier to do this type of work further on down in the day that you could share with us, please?
So I'm just very mindful that I don't pull a horrible face, because my things just come up saying my internet connection is not great again.
It's low, but you're smiling.
That's good. I already do one. I do one in the morning, I do one in the evening. So I've got my gratitude jar, I've got my gratitude stone at the side of my bed. So when I go to bed, I always do my gratitude. I do it in the morning, but then I do it at night when I go to bed, and I will journal what's made me happy and proud before I go to bed, and what 5 things have I done to move me forward. Because
sorry to interrupt. Is it the stone that's like a prompt then? It sounds like the stone's acting as some kind of prompt to activate the action. I know you're in a routine now, but is the stone significant there?
I don't think it's significant, but it's just, I touch it, I get in bed, and then I've got my journal with me. So it's, I don't think it's, I think it's
like it's anchoring though, isn't it? It's anchoring in the sense of there's something about you touching it which has then fired that connection to say, right, after I do that, this is what I do. So yeah, I don't have a gratitude stone, but I do have a stone that says love on it. So I think I need to love me more and do my epic evening. So again, what I really took away from your talk is how powerful thoughts are. Thoughts become things. So for those who are not really I think monitoring is probably the wrong word, but like really having that connection with their thoughts, how are you then ensuring that what you're thinking isn't then doing it, well, having about an outcome for your future self that you don't want to have? So obviously you haven't really touched on the metaphysical side, which isn't a problem because we've got Lorraine's talk has really gone into more the metaphysical side. So for those of you who've listened to Lorraine's talk, then you really need to think about what Angie's saying here, because the thoughts are really powerful and the journaling can really help you to have that awareness of, what am I thinking? How am I describing my emotions? And that's one thing that I love in your journal as well, that you do have that wheel so that we can do the colouring in of how we're actually feeling that day as well. Did you want to talk about that a little bit, about the wheel and how that fits in?
Okay, so you know, when you talked about the thoughts, I see them as seeds. Hence, through my journal, you'll see lots of those. It's a little tree.
Yeah, I love the illustrations in the journal. They're beautiful.
I loved drawing them. I tell you, I think that's one of the things, you know, because I was drawing, I was getting my creative side going, and it was phenomenal. Brilliant. So this, sorry, I'll get onto it because I'll go on a tangent. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, as you can see. Yeah. So there's different colours in there just to explain that, you know, you go through your thoughts through your day. So if I know that I've had a bit of an up and down day, because as I say, I write down how I'm feeling at the end of the evening, but mainly on the positive, but some stuff will pop in. It will do, it's bound to. So I monitor how I'm feeling. So it's literally a quick reflection rather than going back. So then I can go, well, I've got red in there, which is anger. What's made me angry? And then I can look back at that and then change it, if that makes sense. If something's triggered me to be angry, how can I make that better?
Fantastic.
And obviously around the outside there's the moons, because I do lots of stuff with the moons and zodiac, you know, about how to set my goals with my journal.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you've actually woven all of that in. And going on with the emotions, what I've written down is journaling gives you an opportunity to have a non-judgmental space in your connection with your higher self and that connection with the higher consciousness. Because even this morning, the language that I said to my partner was, no, I need to tune in. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, no, I need to tune in. And he was like, okay, I'll just let her get on with it. So I'll just let her get on with it.
A lot of people think we're a bit nut, but
yeah, but that tuning in, it was tuning in with myself, of course, but also the connection with the higher consciousness. You spoke about, you get a lot of ideas. I describe them as downloads, because actually when you're open to, like, okay, I'm just going with my flow, again, like I said, I find it's a non-judgmental time. So don't be harsh on yourself. Whatever's there is there. It's a private thing anyway. You're not going to flash it around everywhere. Then I feel that your higher consciousness, your higher self, kind of then says, oh, okay, then did you think about this? What about that? And that's where the downloads come through. So I love that aspect. And for anyone who's feeling stuck, maybe they're wanting to activate changes in their life, then just having that connection with self can actually do it.
Absolutely, it can.
Brilliant.
It's a phenomenal tool. It really is.
So again, when you spoke about who it helps, for me, a lot of the women come forward because they're struggling with confidence, they're struggling with the mental health. Yep. So, you know, just like you said, starting off really small, or using a tool like yourself where it's got different sections in, and just keep going with it. I think it's the main thing with journaling. It's not something where if you just kind of not going to take it seriously, you're not going to, well, for me, in my experience, feel the whole benefit, the health benefit, the mental health benefit. And for me, it's changed my life in the sense of I've actually become a different person to the woman who started journaling all those years ago.
Absolutely. You see, I changed so much before I came to the journaling. The journaling was just like it was, and you know, when I mentioned, we said it helped me switch on the inner light. That's what it did for me. You know, and just want to touch up on what you said a minute ago. I see this as a meat suit. We're feeling beings. We're not robots.
Yeah.
So we need to get that connection with people that are around us. And when I was talking to somebody, she asked me about that. She was like, "What's this?" And I was like, "You know, we're ready. It's like Ready Break Man, and we've got that energy. You know, how do you know that you meet somebody and you go, oh, I'm not sure about that, and you've not even spoke to the person?" And it's all about energies.
It's all about energy.
When you journal, you're like, and you've got nice energies going now. I can't wait to journal later now.
No, I mean, it's very exciting. And again, we've got Helen, who's part of the summit, who's talking about, well, when I say talking, hers is a live demonstration on sound, but how sound and the vibration actually impacts our energy field as well. So you're right, we are, and this is why, you know, the summit is Elevate Your Being, because we've got to get that remembrance back that you are a soul being having a physical human experience, you know, and we've just forgotten who we are. And like you said, journaling reconnects us to that.
What happens is, I was thinking about this earlier, we're like ants, we're scurrying around, and you know, we're too busy being busy and not being present to what is being shown us all the time. And that's what I love about having the journaling, because it gives you that slow time to be present with what's going on rather than being busy.
Fantastic. So I've just realized I had it in the wrong view. So anybody watching this, our faces would have been going in and out rather than side by side. So I apologize. I've fixed the view now. So Angie, do you want to tell us a bit more about the 7-week course? Because you mentioned it in your talk. Do you want to share some thoughts with us about that, please?
Well, it started off as 12 weeks originally. It's grown and you know, it's evolved since I originally launched it. And what it was when I was doing the journaling, because I've got all my mindset tools in there that I use, or should I say my gardener's tools, then I just sat there and I just thought, there's so much science behind journaling, meditation, gratitude, affirmations, all the things that I use. So that's when I decided, I looked at the journal and I thought, people need to know, they need to understand how we are energy beings, how we are connected to the universe and above all, wherever you want to be. So with the, you know, an understanding that the moons, I mentioned earlier that, you know, I do my goal setting or soul mapping, as I call it, around the moons and with using the zodiac and stuff. Because when you look at the moon, you know, we are 70% water. And what does the moon do to the tides? So it was all about helping people understand and gaining more clarity as to where they've gone, where they are, how they've got there and where they want to go. The connection between the inner and the outer world, as I said earlier, so the moon and all the other stuff. And just giving them tool, you know, those all the science behind my gardener's toolkit, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
No, it sounds fantastic.
So that's basically
so it's a 7-week course. I mean, obviously,
7 weeks.
As part of the summit, all your details are going to be inside the members area. So anybody who wants to know more about that, then just send Angie a message and she'll let you know when the next 7-week cycle is. And look what I've now got as well. I've got some Moonology cards.
Oh, wow, I need to get those.
Well, these were gifted to me. There's such a beautiful story with this that I just need to share.
I'm going to write that down,
and actually, I know that the woman who gifted these to me, she's a beautiful woman. She actually has got her ticket for this summit. So I know when she listens to this, she'll be like, "Oh, they're talking about me. They're talking about me." But Just to
look
go,
at that bag.
no, but listen, just to go back to the word you use, synchronicity, and how we're all connected. I have to share this story because it is relevant. So, on a call in the women's group that I run, all about self-care, we talk about the moon. I said to this particular woman, oh, because she had a lot of knowledge. I was like, oh, could you recommend a book? She recommended 2 books. And the first one, the title sounded good, but when I went online, I couldn't purchase it easily. Then she recommended this second book. But before that, I forgot to mention that 2 days before, she'd sent me a message saying, can I have your address? Because I have a little gift for you. Okay. Now, I knew her anyway, so I was happy to give her my home address. So what had come through the post was these cards, this beautiful moon bag.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And then the coincidence was that in the call, so as these gifts were literally making their way to me by post, I'd chosen the book that matches the cards.
I've got that book. It's amazing, that book is.
You couldn't make it up. We were just like, there was no way that she knew I was going to choose that book.
Well, that was true power of connection.
That's the power of connection. So I'm loving the fact that, you know, you speak about the moon in the journal as well, because like I said, it's something that I'm just getting into. But anyone who's listening to this summer, you've already heard, well, you should have heard by now, Madeline's talk on how we're connected to the universe. We've got Lorraine, who talks about how we can manifest. We've got Denise, who talks about the lessons or energetic lessons. So all of these talks, you're all, in a sense, connected, complementing each other. You're just coming from different places. So what I'm hoping the viewers can hear and learn from is take this knowledge and just build on it. The fact that it's a evergreen, you know, it's an online summit, you can come back to this talk, listen to it again. Remember in Victoria's talk, she shared listen to things 3 times, because sometimes you need to hear it at least 3 times before that penny really drops.
Well, we're actually taught that way, aren't we? We're taught by repetition to learn something.
Exactly. Going back to what you said. So, Angie, this has been absolutely amazing. I've enjoyed listening, learning, reinforcing that I'm on the right track with my journaling practice, you know, because it does work. And, you know, I just feel that if journaling is something that is new to you, just give it a go. Be gentle on yourself. There's no judgment. Nobody's going to be annoyed with you if you haven't done it. It's just that once you've done it over a period of time, you do have that, oh, I haven't journaled feeling like, why am I feeling like this? Oh, that's because I haven't journaled today.
Absolutely.
So is there anything that you wanted to leave with us as closing thoughts at all, Angie?
Just to own, just for everybody, just own your own uniqueness, and don't worry about everything out there. Look inside and everything will change.
Fantastic. Well, Angie, thank you so much for being part of this summer and the health and wellbeing community. We love your energy. I will be sharing the last talk that you did and also the interview that we did as well. So, you know, for anyone that's tuned in, then obviously this is another episode where you can get to know Angie a bit more. And if you're wanting to work further with her, then you can also contact her via the links that will be provided in the summit. Okay. Thank you so much, Angie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.